Invite the mayor, if I may, into this conversation, Gareth. And as the mayor makes his way to join me for a conversation, I mean, I just want to summarize what Kevin had to say. This is definitely coming in from, the community members of Umdloti, particularly to eNCA, saying that they need to see, some level of transparency as to how they got to this point, the devastation of the floods affecting them to the levels at which we're seeing these heaps and heaps of sand. This used to be a driveway, obviously, but unfortunately it cannot be used anymore. As you saw, some of the trucks moving in trying to get some work done, but we're not sure how long in terms of timeline that would take. They're saying as a resident they need some, answers there and to understand when they'll get back to normalcy. But as I've mentioned, the eThekwini Mayor, Mr. Umdloti Kaunda, Honourable Mayor, thank you so much for your time and good morning to you.
Morning to your viewers as well.
I appreciate you coming in. You came in at a time where, of course, hearing concerns from residents, at least one of the residents who also joined in protest yesterday, regarding, of course, eNCA as a developer, bringing them to where they are right now, saying how, where even their documents approved to build here, but yet the floods have brought this picture that we see behind us. As a municipality, I mean, surely you have approved the developer. I'm not sure if you've been in contact with them to try and get some answers as to how we got here. We know it is the floods, but also how they plan to, of course, fix this problem.
Yes, as a municipality, we swiftly responded. As you can see in Bellamont Road, the work has started yesterday. We were here to hand over contractors that will be doing this job, as well as the North Beach Road is also being attended to. We are laying big pipes here. The way these pipes will be laid, our engineers have taken into consideration that whenever floods attacks us again, they will be building the resilient structural piping in this area so that we are able to avert more damages that we have seen during the weekend. But part of the work that will be done, as you have seen next to the circle here, we are also filling up the road because there is only one lane that is working. Contractors are on the spot as we speak to ensure that we expedite the process of ensuring that we fill up that area so that the other cars are able to, the traffic flow is really smooth in that area. But part of the work that and the scope of the contractors is to ensure that they stabilize these areas, because we are in the beach. The sand here is a moving sand, so therefore whatever that they'll be putting on the ground, they needed to conduct more assessments so that whatever structure they put here, it will be a resilient structure moving forward.
Right.
In relation to the new developments that is happening, our teams are investigating. We took that decision. Our engineers are on the ground assessing, because we were attacked by these floods in April. This is natural disaster. So therefore there are many areas which have been affected where there are no developments as well.
Right.
But we are saying to the community, let them be patient whilst we still investigate. Then we'll give them the outcome of the investigation. But we can't jump the gun and say that we must stop the construction, because when these constructions approval were conducted, there were many assessments done, there were many certifications that were supposed to be done. So therefore, we need to go on the ground and check what impact did they impact on this damage, or it's just a disaster that attacks the entire city, as we have seen.
So far, Mayor, with that being said, I mean, we talk about the KZN floods from back in April, but we know that even this past weekend alone, I'm sure that's setting you back in terms of work done, just as you think you're making progress. Can you estimate for us now the cost to damage? Does that affect your budget at all, the resources that you already have, or that you're still looking to have to continue rebuilding the city?
Yeah, the assessments are still being conducted. There are many areas affected, especially the northern part of the city, as well as the southern part, bluff areas and other areas, and the inland areas as well. So our teams are concluding those assessments. But we have already, as a municipality, reprioritized more than 600 million rands to fix the damaged infrastructure and put remedial measures in the meantime to mitigate, whilst we are still budgeting for the overhaul of the infrastructure so that we rebuild where things need to be rebuilt.
Right.
But we are on track in terms of our own plan. Because this project that you see here is estimated to take about 4 months. Yesterday, when we spoke to the contractor, we said, do all what you can to ensure that you short-circuit this period, but without compromising safety of people, because the work that must be done here, we need to ensure quality assurance,
right.
So that you don't have a situation where the other floods, when they come, then people's houses and the properties, they get damaged, because our infrastructure did not become more resilient.
Well, besides the resident of Umdloti, Kevin Minterbrand, that I've just spoken to, Mayor, earlier on I spoke to the IFP, not sure if you caught that on camera live on eNCA, reiterating that they don't trust you, or residents don't trust you as a government, that you will deliver on time, saying they haven't seen anything yet. It's more of a PR stunt, coming onto television, talking about the plans you have, what you plan to do, but there seems to be nothing you can show for it. What's your response to the IFP?
No, the IFP was not here. At least you are lucky that you are here. You see the construction happening. Other people were lucky yesterday. Community members that I met yesterday, I spoke with them. They were here. We gave them the plan, the project plan that we have, the timelines of the project and how this project will be executed. So there is work on the ground. We are not talking about something that we still dream about. So you are here, you can turn your cameras and show people that.
But not necessarily of
work,
just Umdloti residents.
No, even in other areas.
Yes,
even in other areas. Mhlangani, where the bulk sewer pipe was broken, the contractors are on the spot as we speak. They are fixing those pipes. And in other inland areas, there is work that is continuing. So it is not true that we just come to your television and by the eyes of the people. But all what we talk about, we are a council, we are a government. We can't be talking about things which are not happening. So that is why we give people assurance. Yesterday, I spoke to the residents. I say we are here to support you and we want you to cooperate with us, because when construction of this nature is happening, there will be interference with their properties and everything that is here, and encroachment into their properties. But they need to cooperate with us because we want to expedite the restoration of these services back to our communities.
Those who are displaced at the moment, what's the plan for them? There's still some that are staying in community halls. Some children still need to go back to school. Homes destroyed. They need assistance in building actual infrastructure, homes for themselves and their families. I mean, when you talk about the plans that you have, while you're planning, strategizing, collecting data and information, what happens to them?
We are an implementing agency for Human Settlement Department, both national and provincial. They are working closely with us. There are transitional facilities that have already been built. Yes, the pace is not moving as we can expect, but we know that the conditions on the ground and the construction, you need to conduct assessments. Even the land where people will be relocated to, we need to conduct thorough assessments so that we don't just decide that this pocket of land must be utilized for this purpose, whilst we are also putting the lives of people on danger. So that's why it necessitates that as much as we want to expedite things, but what comes first, what is our primary objective as the government, is to save lives. Because whenever these floods attacks us, we don't need it to repeat itself.
Yeah. And also just in terms of protecting, the city for any future floods, my concern as well is that I can imagine residents living in fear, wondering if these floods won't come back again, if they won't take back their efforts backwards again. What would the plan then be? Because I can imagine the quality of life now compromised, because if in April these floods initially were here this year and they're back again this past weekend, I'm sure people don't feel that they're safe or their belongings are safe. So what then is the messaging and the support you're giving them during this time?
Yeah, firstly, we must accept that these are natural disasters. We have no control over them. As much as our infrastructure, this area here is where we collect a high revenue of the municipality because of the market value of the area. So the infrastructure which was put here is a strong infrastructure. So therefore, but it couldn't resist, because if you look at the magnitude of the rainfalls that we received as a city in more than 100 years, it was for the first time we received such. So therefore, it necessitates that we go back, as our teams are doing. We are working with the national engineers, provincial engineers and our city engineers to ascertain that our infrastructure that we'll be putting in place and the restoration of the services, we need to put first the issue of resilience, because our infrastructure should resist the bigger rainfalls that may also come to our city. So therefore, in the next budget of the municipality, which we'll be announcing next week, we'll be talking more of the interventions that the city would be making in ensuring that we prioritize our infrastructure and the aging infrastructure so that it becomes responsive whenever such conditions, catastrophic conditions, attacks us as a city.
Oh, Honourable Mayor, I appreciate you, of course, making time for us this morning. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Right here to the South African Morning. That is the Honourable Mayor of eThekwini, Umdloti. Joining me this morning, Gareth, reiterating their plans that they have in place to continue, of course, assisting not only the residents of Umdloti, of course, affected by what seems to be damage caused by the floods, but also other communities ravaged by the ramifications of these floods, saying that it will take time. There's still data and investigations and data collection that is going on. And in as much as we want to see, of course, things moving, saving lives is a priority to them as a government, and they will continue to do their best and put their best foot forward. Gareth?
Yeah, but totally understandable, of course, isn't it? The frustration from the residents that you spoke to as well, feeling in their area not enough is being done quickly enough as well. Just meters away from what used to be a walkway up to those holiday flats in Umdloti, as you heard from Tumza and her guest. It's really the main focus of that area as well. Many of those flats and apartments standing empty for most of the year, but come the school holidays, December holidays, etc., normally packed to the brim. But you can imagine no one is going near Umdloti at the moment.